fumbling. Born in 1977, Chris Seaver is currently a Rochester, New York-based producer who's produced over 65 films, holy moly, including Bloodfart Lake 3, the documentary, Mova, Demon Ass Kicker, which I just saw. It was one of my top three movie watching experiences, and my other two are Borat and 300, so you can take or leave from that. Wellsville Nights, there's Taint Light, which I didn't see, but I imagine it's like a spoof of Twilight based on the cover. And the description is when a young girl falls for an ancient vampire with great hair, they must fend off another group of bloodsuckers and the werewolf who desires her. He's created the Warlock Home Video Network, which is quite a feat, with a bit of a cult following. He has some rabid fans, and one YouTube commenter on one YouTube video, the making of Crapster Piece Terror at Bloodfart Lake, wrote in, Terror at Bloodfart Lake makes my genitalia explode. So welcome, Chris Seaver.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So you've done a lot of work. I have at least 60 movies to watch because I've only seen, I think, two. But let's get into it. So even though you've created over 65 films, in another interview, you claimed to only like about 16. So what
Yeah.
makes you like or dislike one of your films?
Um, it can be a any manner of things, but due to the nature of how I shoot my films, which is very fast,
Hmm.
2 to 3 days, I think our longest shoot was 4.5. But
Amazing.
so due to the nature of it, there's always something going wrong. Nothing is ever
Hmm.
100%.
Hmm.
Um, you know, again, because of the nature of how fast we shoot, I have to rip things out that
Hmm.
I might not have wanted to rip out. But we're losing time. Irritability sets in, and
Hmm.
things got to go. Um, so that can contribute to my overall feel of the film. Um, Sometimes I'll say, "Hey, there's some good things in there," but overall, I think just as a flick that coalesces into something, it just doesn't work for me.
Hmm.
There's also you're sometimes you're making a movie for the wrong reasons.
Oh, maybe
Um,
like getting a girl or having
no, no,
friends.
no, like
I'm just kidding.
just for rent.
Oh,
Like
gotcha. Okay.
it's and uh, I don't like that.
No, me either.
I'm thrown into a situation where that kind of happened often, where I was like, "Oh crap!"
Oh, okay.
I don't really want to turn this into anything, but boy, do I need to pay some bills.
Gotcha,
Um,
gotcha.
and I don't like working like that. I've
Mm-mm, me either.
definitely, the last like 10, 15 years, I've gotten better with that,
Mm-hmm.
and just saying no. Um, so that can totally there's flicks that we've done where we deliberately are making it shit, or poop, making it poop even more so than the knowledge of us making a crappy movie.
Gotcha.
So we will put the effort in to make it even worse
Mhm.
just because we don't want to do it. um,
That's
and
funny.
and while some fans think that stuff is quote unquote the best, or even more hilarious than the stuff we like care about, which I can understand. For us as a group, I think it's just like, okay, that was a stinker. And
Right.
we tried to let everybody know that this is a stinker. Um, so that can it's that variety of things where I'm just like, oof, like this didn't work out, and I'd rather not
Gotcha.
think
So,
about it.
quick question. I'm going to deviate from my question list. So, if you're kind of trying to make a movie in 3 days, 4 days, which is pretty much my format for everything going forward, like 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, let's get it done. As a girl, my hair it changes. If you work on a film for a year, I might gain 20 pounds in a year. But anyway, so have you ever dealt with an actor that couldn't get their lines down? And then that alone has happened to me. It's made a short film go one extra day and cost thousands of extra dollars because my co-star couldn't get the lines right. Ever happened?
No, no, like if
Wow.
I mean, so I have I've been asked this question before, and I always
Hmm.
go to uh the 27 take. So we were doing a flick
I
called
could.
Moist Fury, and um one, our actor Billy Garbarina, and he knows this, that we've talked about it forever. But I wrote a line in the script that he just could not stop laughing. It like took him
Mm,
off guard.
okay.
And we did 27 takes
Oh,
before
oh,
he just stopped laughing. Um
that's wild.
but I could have said, "You know what? We're just going to throw it out and not have that in there." But it was
Yeah.
my fault. I said, "No, I want this line. This is a funny line. It's staying in there, so I don't care how long
It's
it
funny.
takes." But I've never had like to, if it got to a situation, and believe me, I write like ridiculous monologues
Mm-hmm.
for people,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they just are just like, "Oof, I can't get through this." Then I'll cut it in half, you know.
Okay.
So as much as the other line where I'm like, "Ooh, it's got to stay in," I can not be, you know, precious with my
Mm-hmm.
dialogue as well. And I can say, you know what, I liked it, but if you're struggling with it, then let's just cut half of it
Mm-hmm.
and just get what you can, you know.
All right, well, speaking of cutting, so I'm sure you've heard this. A lot of people in the film business know about Mel Brooks, and supposedly he claimed that he was pulled aside, pretty forcefully given notes by a Warner Brothers producer, and the notes were no fasting, no punching a horse, take it out, no hitting an old lady, take it out, the N word, you can't say that word. And Mel Brooks basically said if he took all the notes, he'd end up with a 12-minute movie. So he crumpled up the notes and he threw them in the trash. So what are maybe some critiques you've received that you ignored and said, I'm not listening to you, I'm going to do whatever I want? And then also how did it go?
Um, I mean, the good thing about what I do, I mean, it's micro budget stuff. So even the
Mhm.
producers, most of the producers that I've worked for, are pretty decent as far as like saying yay or nay. They don't even
Mhm.
read my scripts. Um, you know, so it's actually more the people that I work with that will say, "Hey, are we really going to do this?"
Yeah. You say yeah.
And sometimes I will say, "Okay, if you're not comfortable with this, then it's gone." Um, or if that particular person doesn't want to say those lines, then somebody else will do it. Um, but I've never had to, and I think there's a good portion of the flicks that we've done early on, where it was a lot of, uh, I've talked about this before, but being seduced by the idea of shock value,
Mhm.
um, and being under the tutelage of Lloyd Kaufman for a
Oh,
good
okay. Yeah.
portion for 10 years,
Oh,
um,
10 years. All right.
working with Trauma. Not like working for Trauma, but them doing stuff
Mhm.
for my films and me doing stuff for their films. Um, Lloyd really was like a proponent for pushing the limit. So there's
Yeah.
a large swath of my flicks that have stuff that I would not do today, and
Really?
things that I wouldn't even say today. Uh,
Really?
oh
But
yeah,
Lloyd supported them? Lloyd was
but
pushing that
because
or something?
Lloyd was like, people are going to remember
Yeah.
stuff that shocks them more than not.
Yes.
So I took that to heart, and there's a lot of that in a huge portion of the earlier stuff.
Oh, that's
Uh,
funny.
that to us, we maybe not necessarily felt like we were saying or doing anything wrong
Mhm.
because we were like, oh no, this is outsider cinema. We are pushing the limit. We are, like we're Trauma, John Waters. We're
Right.
all of that squashed together. Let's just go have fun and damn the consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love working with Lloyd. He's a lot of fun. I tied him up. I rescued him in a movie that's on Troma now, and it will be out, I think, on Amazon Tubi and all this stuff. You'll see it. It's pretty awesome. And he was great. He was a good sport. We tied him up and we had a lot of fun with Lloyd. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, great. All right, so moving on. So now, the main reason I wanted to interview. Now, we did a little promo for Wellsville Nights, which I think is amazing. And quick aside, I've told Pete this, I've told Bob Heckman this, I've told a handful of people this because this is really weird and something that's happened to me many times where I think it was Pete sent me a clip of Clifford and it was Martin Short. He plays like a 7-year-old or 11-year-old. And I watched that and I was like, this is the best thing ever. I was reminded of that. And I was just obsessively thinking for maybe 1 or 2 hours right in this living room how I have to play the child, 40-year-old, I have to play a child. And then I think within 1 or 2 hours, I get a message and a script from Bob Heckman asking me to play a high schooler. So I guess before we go into Mulva, which really was like, all right, I got to interview Chris now. Tell us a bit about Wellsville Nights. That's such a cool concept, and it's a concept I had in my head, and then the script landed, and it was like already created. Look at that.
So Wellsville Nights, some people might think it's dead, but it's not. Um,
Hmm.
uh, you know, for lots of many, many, many years, I always wanted to make a parody of 80s teen soap operas.
Hmm.
They were ridiculously melodramatic, played straight, and in a lot of cases outside of Degrassi, because what the Canadians were doing with Degrassi Junior High, that was some real stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
They were tackling some real stuff, but over
Hmm.
here, some of the things that these teens were whining and complaining about on these soap operas, these high school soap operas, were ridiculous. And I always found that hilarious. And growing up in the '80s, I didn't really watch those shows, but my sister did, and so
Hmm.
I found them very funny. I mean,
Hmm.
this is not like uh, Saved by the Bell because that is a comedy. That was a comedy show.
Yeah.
I'm talking more like
Serious.
like Degrassi Junior High. There were shows called 15. There were
Hmm.
shows called Swan's Crossing. There were these, and then to a more greater extent, something like 90210. Uh,
Yeah.
but so I always wanted to poke fun at shows like that, and I was like, man, this would be my bread and butter because I love absurd comedy. Um,
Same.
and but I couldn't just do it straight. I love the horror
No.
genre so much, so I have to put some elements. And there's Dark Shadows from the '60s that was a primetime soap opera,
Hmm.
uh, very melodramatic. Uh, the props were terrible. If something fell in the background, then it was kept because it was shot live. That type of thing. And I loved that aspect, so I wanted to meld an '80s uh, high school drama with Dark Shadows or Buffy or something like that, and play it straight, but shoot it all the way that it was shot back in the '80s
Hmm.
on tape with harsh, ugly lighting. You know,
No.
keep the dialogue of the time, but my dialogue ridiculous. Everything is
Yeah.
played straight, but it's so stupid and pushed to the
It's
up
really
to
fun.
11.
It's really
Um,
fun. Yeah, I would definitely
and so
recommend
that's
watching it.
yeah, Wellsville Nights. So we finally during the pandemic, I finally wrote the pilot, and then we wrote the first 8 episodes of the first season. All during that, we created the pitch deck, all of that stuff, and we
Mm-hmm.
and we were able to shoot the pilot in 2022. Um,
Okay.
and then we've had terrible luck trying to
Ah,
raise enough money to make the rest of the episodes. We were
well, I hope you do.
close, but I'm not going to let it go because everyone loves it, and we had such a
Mm-hmm.
fun time doing it. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
wished for it before it landed in my email. I mean, I was like, I'm hoping can somebody cast me to play this? And here you are. All right, so moving on. So something else I really loved, like fanatic loved, like crazy lunatic loved. Went to the theater. I don't love everything, but it doesn't matter what I love. I love stuff that people hate, and I hate stuff people love. I don't like Star Wars, so it doesn't really matter what I think. But I love Caddyshack, and a lot of people love it. But who cares? Anyway, on to the next
good.
question. So you just premiered, I think last week, wildly fun movie. Definitely one of my top three, and it's called Mova Demon Ass Kicker. So if you could just tell us a bit about that. It was so fun.
Thank you. I'm glad you had a good time. Um,
Obsessed.
so in the year 2000, we shot a movie called Malva Zombie Ass Kicker on Long
All
Island
right. All right.
with a bunch of fans who were fans of my garbage. Um,
It's not garbage.
and with their collaboration, we shot and Troma's. Troma was
Mm-hmm.
a co-producer on it. Doug Sackman, who was head of production at Troma,
Yeah, I did a show with
um,
him.
he he co-produced the movie. Um,
Okay.
and so we shot this, you know, this shot on video little thing that was really meant for um, conventions only, on VHS to sell at conventions, but ultimately ended up getting national distribution through Tempe Entertainment, thanks to Debbie Rochon, who was
Yeah.
on a set. She's in the movie. She's in the original movie. She was shooting a movie for Full Moon with J.R. Bookwalter in Ohio. She basically passed the movie around and said, "You guys got to see this." Um, and J.R. was like, "This is great. Do you have distribution?" I was like, "No." So anyway, long story short, because of that movie,
Right.
20, in 2000, um, we got national distribution, and a large swath of people were able to finally like see the garbage that we were doing on a much larger scale than just friends and family. The previous 10 years of me making movies was. And so sometime in early 2023, JR came back to me, and we were just kind of throwing around the idea of what if we did a new Malva that paid homage to those fans and those first
Mm-hmm.
films that got us on the map, but did it with what we do now, sort of the group that we have now, the tech that we have now. What would it look like? How different would I make it? And that intrigued me.
Mm-hmm.
That idea of sort of going back like that and putting a new spin on it, and then Malva Demon Ass Kicker was born. And there's winks and nods to the first two Malva movies that are in there. Um, we did a movie called Filthy McNasty, which is now celebrating 25 years.
Mm.
We did four of those movies, but those original Malvas and the Filthy McNasties are really the two that sort of like gained us a fan base back then.
Wow. Okay.
And so Malva Demon Ass Kicker is a big sort of sloppy, wet kiss to those fans, but also anyone new that wants to discover sort of our type of stupid comedy horror.
Absolutely check it out. You're someone that more than anyone, maybe more than myself, you say your work it's shit, it's poop, it's stupid, but I think it's one of the most entertaining, creative, well done thing ever. So anyway, moving on to, we have like a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. So if you could answer this question and then
Yeah,
also give us your socials, where to find you. Kind of a long answer and weird way to close out, but you said in a different interview that basically you'll decide to keep a scene in or what to put in the movie because if it makes you laugh, then it stays. So I guess ironically and totally opposite, I just finished acting and also co-producing a 47-minute film. It took me about a year with the exact opposite rule. I laughed at one line the writer chose, so my role was basically helping this guy bring his movie to light. So whatever his vision is, I made the location, I made it happen. I, tried to follow along and not manhandle it. So I left it one line and then he took it out. I said, no, keep it. I laugh at everything. It's a great line. So I watched the final cut and the line is out. He wants no laughter. That's not no laughter, no laughter, no laughter. No, no, no. If it makes you laugh, I don't want it. So all I really care is about making stuff that's informative, makes you think, health content. I used to teach health, and then stuff that is funny. So, what would you do on a set like this where there's no laughter allowed in the film?
I mean, I wouldn't be there.
No, you wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't be there.
What if you signed on and then you found that out, which is what happened to me?
I mean, I'd probably quit. I'd probably quit. Like
Really?
that's somebody else's job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to make something serious. There's enough.
Yeah,
There's enough of that out there.
I agree.
I make Chris Seaver movies, and
Yeah.
my movies are dumb and they're silly and they're stupid and they are created to just make people laugh. That's it.
And they do.
I
And
have no,
smile.
yeah, I have nothing behind them other than to like entertain in that way. And yeah,
Hmm.
my stuff is you either hate it or you love it. You can either get
Yeah.
on board with the stupidity or
Hmm.
you're just like, man, this stuff is terrible and I cannot get on board. So, but that's, oh well, like,
Oh, well. Yeah. Yeah.
then it's not for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. If
I've
you're
been
for
lucky enough.
everybody, if you're for
Yeah,
everybody, you're for nobody.
I've been lucky enough to not only make movies for me and my friends to laugh at, but there's a nice, you know, group of people out in the
Hmm.
world who find this stuff as silly as we do, and that's great. That's a cherry on top.
So
You know?
speaking of that, close out, give us your final thought and where we can find you, all listeners, where to watch your movie, see Demon Ass Kicker, see Wellsville Nights, see it.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a YouTube page. It's called "It Crept from the '80s." You can go
Mhm.
there. That has a lot of stuff about my movie making, but also my passion and love for the '80s decade. It was my favorite decade. I lived it, I loved it, and I want to go back. You
Agree.
can go to Instagram, and that's Warlock Home Video.
Mhm.
Facebook is Christopher J. Seaver or Warlock Home Video Network. And that's where all of our info is as far as like what we're doing production wise. If you want to find my movies, you can get them through Amazon. You can get them through
Mhm.
SRS Cinema. You can get them through
Mhm.
Makeflix. They're streaming on most of the streaming services. Malva Demon Ass Kicker is finally coming out on physical media. I mean, it's out there now. Finally,
Mhm.
it's doing a small theatrical run.
In
Um,
Florida coming
we
up.
got Florida coming up. We got Gettysburg coming up. We've got Philadelphia coming up. And all the streaming sites and whatnot. It's going to be
Awesome.
hitting a lot
Okay.
of those sites coming up. So there you
Well,
go.
Chris Seaver, that's the end of our interview. So now we're going to close out and get back to Mark Torres for more. I came from the radio.